right, we're going to have a word of prayer, and there'll be some people walking in here in a little bit. I know a few walking in late. You need something? Oh. Oh, okay. And but we'll get started, and let's have a word of prayer. Thank you for being here, and looking forward to tonight. Going to wrap things up tonight. So, again, ask any questions. We'll get through it, but appreciate so much you being here. So, I have quite a few people this time that have been watching online and got quite a bit of feedback. So that's been a blessing too. So, all right, let's pray. God, thank you, Lord, for loving us, and pray that you would just bless our time together as we continue to look at the children's ministries. I pray that you'd help us to get through everything that you've given, and Lord, we just ask you to teach us, and just thank you for our kids. I pray that you would just bless these ministries and help us to do our best to reach them. In your name I pray. Amen. All right, we talked about the program. That's where we were last night. And I do have up here in front of my wife 5 complete copies of all the notes from the slides. There are 5 of them that are complete. And I would just ask that basically adults get those, all right? For now, and if teenagers want them, find an adult that has them and go make copies, right? But if an adult wants them, now we leave, so during break time, come grab one, all right? And if we need to make more, I can, all right? But it's a lot of papers. I don't want to print too many and throw them away. So all right, but they are there if you'd like them, all right? So junior church and bus ministry, and of course, we talked Sunday school last time. Gave some thoughts for an agenda, a program for Sunday school, and that's where we are. Let's go on to the bus ministry, all right? How to have a good bus ministry, and let's speak on this real quick. All right, the key to a healthy bus ministry, this is just a good place to start, is visitation. All right, you can have a great program, you can have the best program, but if no one's there, it doesn't matter. All right, so visitation is just of the necessity. And really our Sunday school ministry and our junior church, it really relies upon a healthy bus ministry. All right, if we don't have a healthy bus ministry, there's not as many kids in the other ministries. So the bus ministry is huge. And so we just want to do our best, but the key to it is visitation. Saturday is the best day to visit your bus route. And so, because if you visit any other day, they forgot you were there. And I added this. This is something I've added in the last 2 years. Saturday is the best, and later is greater. Yep. The kids now, we live in a different culture. I think you know that, even than when I was running a bus a few years ago. 15. But the difference is this: these kids, they stay up all night. They all stay up all night. They're all playing video games. They're all they don't go to bed till 3, 4 in the morning. And so they're not getting up. Honestly, these kids aren't getting up till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? That's when they get up. So when we have a meeting, and I haven't changed that because schedule-wise, I let people, our bus workers, just come whenever you can and go out. Most people that meet here on Saturday mornings is people just door knocking, right? But the buses themselves are visited later. And that's because they aren't up. And we have found on the Milford route, Brother Matthew has been visiting, and he has been visiting Saturday evenings after 5 p.m. And it has made a huge difference. Huge difference. And the kids are up, the parents are out, everybody's awake. We'll be here in the morning, and it's been very profitable. All right, I'm not telling you that's what you have to do. I'm just saying, most of the kids are not up earlier than that. Not earlier than 5, but not at 11 a.m. They're just not. Right? You'll find a few, but most of them are not. All right, but Saturday's best, later's greater. Leave something in their hand always when you visit, a flyer, a piece of candy. All right, you get a bag like that, it'll last you quite a while. you don't give handfuls to every kid, right? But you tell them, give them a flyer. Always give them a flyer, right? Always, always, always. And then leave something in their hand, a Dum Dum Pop, all right, or 12 cents, right? Leave that in their hand, all right? But leave them something in their hand. Give them, when you visit, give them a reason to come, all right? Give them a reason to come. Don't just be like, hey, we'll be by tomorrow. Okay. But tell them, again, you don't have to go spend money, right? Tomorrow we're going to finish the story. Remember Sunday School Charlie? He turned around and that guy, Red, looked at him. He was all rough and he said, you're going to find out tomorrow. You need to be there, all right? And tomorrow, see this bag of candy? I got a whole new bag that's going to be on the bus tomorrow. We got to start passing it out, right? They're pumped, all right? And so give them a reason to come, all right? This is a new note done years ago. Texts are a game changer. All right, all these kids have phones. All right, every one of them. Every kid has phones, and their parents. All right, if you call them, I'm just telling you this, they don't answer. No one answers the phone anymore. Generally speaking, it's just not the thing to do. Like when Ben Souza was running everything over there, right? If you ever want to get a hold of him, if you called him, you're wasting your time. That's just what the generation now, they don't answer the phone. You have to text them. I mean, they'll sit there and watch it. You can call them 5 times in a row. They'll just stare at it. And then you text them, what are you doing? They'll write you right back, right? So text, and here's where they're awesome, all right? In the morning, you're running a route, send them a text. Be there in 10 minutes, all right? It's really cool, all right? And send it to the parents, and they'll get their kids up, all right? But texts are wonderful, and every kid has it. I mean, the 6-year-olds have a phone. I don't think they should, but they do, all right? And so use it to your advantage. Now, I am going to say be careful. If I'm texting these girls, I'm not texting them, Hope is. All right? So do not follow that, all right? You got that? All right? So know your kids, all right? But send them, it really is effective. It's right there. Use it. All right, communicate with your workers on times and responsibilities. So we're talking about the bus route. Here's what you need to spread out in your bus route. My wife and I were talking about this last night, and I'll throw this in there too. If you're in charge of a ministry and you're not a administrator, if you will, there's a gift called administration. All right, and you're just like, you struggle with, thinking about all these details. I ask, usually in your ministry, it's okay. Maybe men, you listen to me. It's okay to ask a lady to do that. Amen. They're better at it than us. Amen. They just are, right? You say, well, I'm a leader. A leader knows how to run things properly, and that is the best thing to do, right? Yeah. So let them. Matthew's not here yet, but I had this conversation, right? I think he would do better in letting Hope do the schedule. Just Matthew's great. He does a fantastic job at visiting, and the kids love him, right? But the organizing, there it is, right? She would do a better job. She's just like, I don't want to do all this stuff, right? But I'm just saying that kind of scenario, right? And but here's the responsibilities. 1, everybody has a driver. Your buses, all right? Thank them. Yep. Thank them for driving, all right? Treat them well, yep. All right? When you pass out a snack, offer something to them. Bring them a bottle of water on the hot days when they get on the bus. Bring a bottle of water to them, all right? Treat them like gold. There's like 4 in the entire ministry here that can do what they're doing. Yep. Treat them well, all right? Tell them thank you. Teach the kids to say thank you. Even Fortnite thanks the bus driver, all right? Thank, all right? Make sure you thank them. Treat them well. Hot days, bring them a coffee if they're a coffee drinker in the morning, all right? But if you pass out corn dogs on a stick, make sure you offer one to them, all right? But just don't forget about them. They're really important to your ministry, all right? And but thank them, all right? And then someone needs to take attendance. It's absolutely mandatory. Someone's got to take attendance. And every bus route has to have attendance. And someone needs to be responsible for that. Don't just say, yeah, we take it. Who does? What do they take it in? All right. Jacqueline sends me her bus rider report at the end of every month. I don't know what she records it on necessarily, but I know she emails me every month, every rider that rode, what days they rode, who was workers that day. She does a fantastic job at that. And so, she does great records, and everyone has to. Right? They can be in a notebook. They can be in a 3-ring binder. Whatever. But you got to take good. Someone has to have that job. So you that are in charge of these ministries, especially then we're talking about bus ministry, thank your driver. Make sure someone has that responsibility. It needs to be the same person every week. Okay? Same person every week because they get to know the kids. They're looking for them. They got a system. All right? If you just like, hey, who wants to take attendance today? It's going to be chaos and the records are going to be everywhere. Same person. All right? And then you need to designate someone to have the snacks, someone to bring in the quiet seats. All right? You don't need 50 on a bus route. Really, to be quite honest, one on the way in and one on the way back. All right? And then have a bag of candy around and you're good to go. But snacks, but I'm going to talk about why we do snacks in a minute, but and quiet seats, but you need to assign it. Do not say, hey, did somebody bring something? All right? It's got to be assigned. And everyone knows who's doing it. I've been doing that for the Milford route for the last few weeks, all right? And I'm not going to be on there, so somebody's got to feed those kids Sunday, right? But snacks and quiet seats, you got to communicate, let them know who's doing it. Someone should be in charge of a verse, all right? And that person, whoever's going to be in charge of the verse, I do it a month at a time. Who's ever in charge of the verse, you're going to write it out on a poster board, and then they're going to hold it, teach it, or the bus captain can, why they hold it, but they're responsible to have it. Verse tokens are awesome. If you're going to learn the verse, all a verse token is printing out the verse on a piece of paper, and when the kids get off the bus, it's the last thing they get in their hand. Learn that verse next week. Have a contest on there, prizes to say the verse, memorizing the scripture. All right, but someone does always think the driver, attendant, someone does snacks and quiet seats, someone should be doing verses. People obviously do more than one thing. All right, songs and visuals, someone should be in charge. Who's leading singing this week? All right, who's doing that? And you need to add visuals, song visuals to your repertoire. All right, you say, well, I have 5 on there. Yeah, your kids are getting sick of singing the same 5 songs. All right, so start getting some new ones. You introduce one a month. In a year, you're getting a good amount of songs. All right, write them out on a poster board. That's awesome. All right, or I'm telling this is for all kids ministries. If you go to, remember this, christianbook.com, all right, you can find song visuals and they're fantastic, all right? They don't cost that much. You just take care of them, all right? They're wonderful, all right? Look at this. This is like $7, all right? Look at that. Now, the thing you're going to need to do, though, is you're going to need to take care of them. So get something to take. If you just leave them on the bus seats, they'll be gone in 3 weeks, all right? All right, I'll be a sunbeam. Ready? Everyone. Jesus wants me for a sunbeam to shine. For him each day. In every way try to please him. At home, at school, at play. A sunbeam, a sunbeam. Sing! Jesus wants me for a sunbeam, a sunbeam, a sunbeam. I'll be a sunbeam for him. You see, I don't really know these songs. That's what's cool on the back. It has the words for you, all right? But you can get these, all right? Few bucks and you got them for life, all right? Look at these. I believe the Bible. I believe the Bible. What can wash away my sin? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. All right? They don't cost hardly anything. All right? Or you can write them out on a poster board. That's going to cost you about $2. All right? For another $6. All right? Look what you're getting. All right? So, but these are awesome. Sunday school, bus, junior church. They don't cost that much. All right? You see, can I use those? No. My wife bought them, and that's why they're still nice, because she guards them with her life. She uses them in school and stuff. But they're easily accessible. They're awesome. I mean, if you just stand up there and say, all right, kids, let's sing Nothing But the Blood, you're going to be like, but you say, all right, we're going to sing Nothing But the Blood. And then you turn this page, all right, here we go. And everyone starts singing, all right, they're going to be with you. And you know what they're looking at? You say, the book. Well, yeah, they are, but they're looking at you, all right? And you got their attention. They're not staring out the windows. You got to have song visuals, all right? So make sure you get those, have those. They're awesome, and you're able to use those, and keep new songs, all right? Then the lessons, someone should be in charge. Who's doing the lesson this week? Who is teaching the lesson? Don't have to be the same person every week. All right, share that. We'll talk about the lessons in a minute. Games, someone should be in charge of games. All right, and by games, I mean I would do the same game one per week. All right, we'll talk about those in a minute too. And then someone needs to be in charge of escorting them to class. All right, you need to make sure to get to class. If you just let them off the bus, all right, who knows where they're going, all right? You need to make sure they go to class. They probably need to go to the bathroom. And if you need to stop at the bathroom, you're going to do what? The 1 foot thing, all right? And again, let them use the restroom, then get them into class. You need to make sure they make their way all the way to class, all right? So all the way to class, make sure to get there. Don't just turn them loose. You need to make sure they get to that classroom because they're sneaky little things, all right? Hunter and Mikey the other day decided to join the teen class, all right? And yeah, so, you got to get them out, all right? Make sure to get out, all right? So that's, just some things as we're starting about the bus ministry. And then pick up. When you're picking up, all right? First of all, obviously when they're getting on the bus, they need to be welcomed. All right, as soon as they step on that bus, good morning, how you doing? Smiles. Someone should be taking attendance. Give them food. I just really encourage it. Again, you don't have to fix a 7-course breakfast, right? I like getting those little muffins. They're easy and give them each 2 muffins, right? You see, what's the big deal? They're hungry. Yep. I'm just telling you, their parents aren't getting out of bed. They're not getting out of bed, and if they do, they're not fixing them anything to eat, all right? They're hungry. All right, and another reason to give them something to eat is because food in their mouth keeps their mouths occupied. Because at the first, they're not going to get on the bus and be like, all right, nothing but the blood. All right, there's 1 kid on there. All right, you don't do that. So that's your time to talk to kids. That's your time to be sitting with them, and that's your time to give them something to eat. All right, and when others start getting on the bus, they're not all yelling at each other. It amazes me how they get in fights within 20 minutes, right? It's just like, oh, I hate you. Right? It's like, stop it. But they're hungry. They're hungry. It's amazing, right? They really will eat, right? But again, we can't afford to feed them on this. But you can. It don't cost that much, right? Little box is like $8, and that's enough for we can feed 20 off of that, right? Because you're not giving them all a pack, right? You can open them up, give them out, right? It's also when you're picking up, it's time for your interaction. Workers need to be talking with the writers, right? Go sit with the kids. The last thing you want, and we all need to work on this, all right, is the kids walking in, going past 3 rows of workers, and then sitting in the back, and all the workers are up there talking about whatever, right? Go sit with them. Go talk with them, all right? It's of great necessity, all right? But you need to be with the writers. Again, that's pick up then. Everyone gets on the bus. They're welcome. We give them something to eat. We're talking to them. And then once we're getting some kids on the bus, you want to start your songs. So, we only have like 5 or 6 kids, and, is all this necessary? Well, I will say this. You should act like every route that there's 60 kids on the bus. Yeah. All right? And 2, you might get more kids if you do these things, right? And if they're bored to death, 30 minutes here and 30 minutes back, right? You're losing them, all right? Plus, what a great opportunity it is, all right? But have songs. Again, I already talked about have some good visuals, sing familiar children's songs like we just did, and notice we did a hymn. It's good to mingle hymn. You don't want to do 7 hymns, all right? But start teaching those hymns. Because we want them, by the time they get to the teen class, to not go over there and all of a sudden they know nothing what's going on. They need to know nothing but the blood. They need to know trust and obey. They need to start intermingling some hymns in there too. And activity songs, in, right out, right up, right down, right happy all the time, deep and wide. All right, joy like a fountain. All right, but get them moving. All right, they don't. If you have them sitting there with their hands in their lap trying to sing nothing but the blood, you're gonna lose them. All right. So activity songs. A leader, whoever's leading the singing, needs to be loud. Right? I don't know if you've led singing on a bus. There's an engine. It's loud already. There's already kids on there. All right? If you're just like, all right, let's sing nothing but the blood. All the kids are like, all right? I mean, you got to be loud. Teach your voice out there. Amen. All right? Nowhere near what I'm speaking right now. Right? I mean, and when you have a lot of kids on the bus and you're standing in the front, they need to be able to hear you in the back. All right? You say, I'll get a microphone. Nope. All right? You just got to say it. I mean, you can do it. You can. You say, I just don't, you can. Right? I mean, if you saw a kid running out in the road and there's a car coming, you're not going to say, stop. All right? No, we all have it. You just got to let it rip. Most of the time, it's always pride that keeps us from doing it, all right? But you got to do it. You got to be loud. You got to be active. You got to be energetic, all right? You cannot get up and lead in a song, all right? All right, we're going to sing, I Believe the Bible. Ready? Let's sing it with me. I believe the Bible. All right. None of you even sang with me, right? I mean, you guys totally, you're worse than the kids, right? No, when you get up, all right, you're like, all right, are we ready to sing? Yeah. I didn't hear, are you ready to sing? Yeah. All right, ready? Let's sing. We're going to watch, by the way, because we have a game, and the best singer is going to get up here and get to play a game, all right? So, Brother Coy is going to be watching. You watching, Brother Coy? Going to find a good singer. Are we ready? Yeah. Y'all, come on, are you ready? Yeah. Ready? Here we go. Ready? Let's start. I believe the Bible. I believe the Bible. I believe the Bible is the Word of God. I believe in Jesus. Can't hear you. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Jesus. He's the Son of God. Ready? Jesus died for sinners. Jesus died for sinners. Jesus died for me. All right, Brother Coy. Did you see anyone singing well? Actually, I'm not going to do that. All right, and then he brings someone up and we play a game. All right? So, all right, but you got, if you get up there and just, like I started at first, and now you're just staring at me, all right? But you got to put some energy. You got to put some volume. You got to move, all right? If you're going to lead singing on a bus, you cannot be timid. All right? You got to just let it rip, all right? So lift your voice and do it, right? Now the games. I highly encourage you incorporate the games with the songs, all right? It's just, it motivates them to keep singing, to keep paying attention. If you just sing 5 songs, you're going to start losing some kids, all right? They're going to start staring out the window, getting their phone out, all right? And they always get their phone out because? Yeah, all right? So having a game in between each one, all right, helps the kids. All right, we're going to do it again. Next song. All right, Mrs. Burke's going to watch. Let's all sing Nothing But the Blood. And we sing the next song. All right, and the person that's watching can't be staring out the window. The kids aren't stupid. All right, they weren't even looking. Who cares, right? I mean, if your job to watch, to find the next singer, you're like standing there as a worker and you're looking. You're making eye contact with every one of them, all right? And and they're like, oh, she's looking, right? And so you make sure that you reach out in that way. But incorporate it with the songs that after every song you come up and play this short game. It's awesome. Variety is important with your games. All right, don't use bunkers for 7 months, all right? Remember you're on a bus, so when you're playing games, all right, not tag, all right? You can't, all right? I don't have a problem with them getting up and, shooting a basketball. That's great. You have a workers back there where they're shooting and someone holding that, all right, in one at a time. Ain't no big deal, all right? You're going to be okay, all right? But you don't want them all running in chaos, all right? And the more people involved in your game, the better, all right? We ended, last time I led singing on the bus, we had 2 different sides, And as we were pulling in, whatever side was the best singing, they all got candy, and the other side didn't on the way out, a Tootsie Roll. But you just, everything, it just keeps our attention, keep it alive, all right? And the more people involved, the better. Some bus games, all right? There's all kinds of bus games. Isn't that awesome, man? All right, Bonkers is awesome. I showed you that last night. The cup game is awesome. Another game to play on a bus is toilet paper roll pass. Y'all know what that is? Guy on the front row, he starts the toilet paper, and then you have to pass it all the way to the back of the bus without the thing tearing. If it tears, you got to start back in the front and go back again, all right? And you say, well, that's silly. It's hard. Because these kids are holding it. It's like rip, all right? And it frustrates them. It's awesome. All right, but something like that. The Twizzler game. How many of you have never played the Twizzler game? Oh, all right. Twizzler game is one of the greatest games ever, all right? It's just a marshmallow tied to a twist and peel Twizzler, and you just tie it at the bottom, put one end in the mouth, no hands, and you one person against another. You pick the two best singers. They go against each other on their mark, say go, and they have to bring that all the way up and get everything in their mouth. It's awesome. Over, under, that's when you have a small little ball or something like that, and the first person passes it behind them. Next person has to go under the seat, and then you go all the way back to the back of the bus, all right? Donut on a string. You tie a cake donut on a string. One person holds it. The other person has to eat it while the other person's holding on a string. Guess which hand? Silly game, but you sit there, you have a nicer prize, and then you have a smaller prize, and it is, you two are the two best singers, Meg and Temperance, all right, and whoever guesses which hand this is in, you get a box of nerds, but the other person only gets this, but you get to guess. Are you ready? Are you ready? Which hand's it in? You win. So you get the nerds and you get a Tootsie Roll. Now you get nothing, huh? All right. But you silly, just keep it going. All right, but keep moving. You got excitement. All right, but the whole time you're doing the songs, they're singing, everyone's involved, and all of a sudden you've been singing for 20 minutes on this bus ride, and they all like it still. All right, because you're keeping it rolling, and you're exciting, and there's motivation, there's fun, and you say, these kids should just sing because they love the Lord. Yeah, we'll get there. All right, you're talking years, all right? You sat in church a long time before you started singing too, right? But quiet seats, you should have at least 2 per week. This is my pet peeve. Use name brands. All right, the kids know. All right, and I'm just talking, here's some Meyer. Get the real ones, all right? Here's a big K. They don't. The 18 cents more you're going to spend tells them they're important enough. The real thing. All right? But get name brand stuff, all right? Now, I'm not talking about the snacks you're feeding everybody, all right? Cheap as you can get, all right? But I mean something you're going to hand out as a prize, all right? Yeah, if I got a Dr. Thunder or a Dr. Pepper, it makes a big deal to these kids. It really does, right? You say, well, they're spoiled. Well, okay. But use your quiet seats wisely, all right? Use them wisely. Don't be like, hey, we got 7 quiet seats. Here you go, Brother Daniel. You can have all 7, all right? Don't. They should last for quite a while, all right? And don't just give them out to anybody. All right, your lesson should be 5 to 7 minutes on the bus, all right? If you go much more than that, it's going to be hard to keep their attention with cars passing and billboards and everything going on, right? And it has to be exciting. You got to be able to keep their focus. Talked about that some. Object lessons are fantastic on the bus. All right, remember my dollar bill yesterday? All right, I did the object lesson a couple weeks ago on the bus, and I used my phone. All right, and if I took the battery out of my phone, what happens to my phone? It's useless. It's dead, right? Without a battery. What's that? Yeah, it's like, well, she got a new one. But it needs a battery. And then I use that the moment you get saved, now you have life. All right? But we as Christians, what happens if I don't ever plug my phone in? It's going to die, all right? It's going to run out of battery, all right? Juice is going to go down. And they all understand. They're all just like, oh, yeah. I didn't. They answered a lot quicker than you just did, right? And I said, so, you got to plug it in. And when you do, it recharges, right? And then I said, you know what? That's why we come to church. We come to church. Other things that recharge our batteries is reading the Bible and praying and telling people about Jesus. And I start going through a bunch of things that recharge your batteries, all right? And 5 minutes using what's in my hand, all right? And they got it. They totally get it, all right? But you need something in front of them. There's so many object lessons, all right? You do a quick Google search on object lessons, there's thousands. And really, I mean this, all right? If you're anywhere at all creative, you could throw me anything right now, and I can make a thing out of it, right? No, I don't have time. All right, but what'd you have, a pen? A pencil? Yeah, all right? You have to be sharp. You make mistakes. Praise the Lord, your sins, I can write on something, but look what God does when we ask God to forgive us. It erases it. So many different things, right? I feel led, to, all right? A penny, everyone needs to be a penny, right? Everyone is a penny. If you're saved, you're a penny. You know why? Because we're all 1 cent. And you just teach about that, right? So many different things you can do, right? But, and those little things, it keeps their attention. If you just stand up and be like, I want to preach to you today, about, the Garden of Gethsemane, all right? About 2 minutes in, no kids listening to you, all right? You need something in front of them. But object lessons or series, I told you about Sunday School Charlie yesterday. Another great series, all right, is the Aunt Carolyn stories. All right, look at these, all right. This right here will last you probably 3 weeks on the bus, 4 weeks maybe, because you leave the cliffhangers. All right, look at these right here, all right. You're going to tell the story of the silent stalker. It's October. It's a good time to do this, all right. And then here's the cool part, right. You sit there, you just show this picture, and there's your story, right. Isn't it really cool? And you're telling the story, all right. And you go through, you say, I just don't want to spend all this money. Good news. These are all here at the church. You just have to ask Brother Price. He'll give it to you. All right? You can use it, then turn it back in, or else he'll be looking for you. All right? But they're already here. All right? Use them. Use them. They're here. Sunday school teachers, use them. All right? These are, I don't know that I do these like 5th and 6th graders in a Sunday school class setting, but, younger kids, they'll love this. All right? What's that? Yeah, they're good. I mean, we've got a bunch of them, right, Brother Price? Yes, sir. We have some, the snow angel, lilacs and sage, all right? But there's all kinds of them. They're over there, all right? Use them. That's why we got them, all right? And that kind of stuff, it'll bring your ministry to another level, all right? Instead of just standing there doing what I'm doing right now, all right? But even when I'm doing this, I could have just handed you those notes. You know why I have this? Because we're not that much better than the kids. I keep needing to flash something in front of you because it keeps your attention. All right? Otherwise, you all would be doodling and you'd all start fading. All right? But I try to keep something in front of us. We're just a little bit more mature. But we need something. All right? So use those. They're awesome. They're here. All right? Help yourself to that. Use the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger is so important when you're giving a lesson. Just like I told you. Read last night. He looked at him and said... And I dropped it right there, didn't go any further, all right? But it's a powerful thing. They'll come back. But in every lesson, make sure you integrate the gospel. Make sure you present the gospel. Again, escort them to class. When you take them to the class, we already mentioned it, you're going to make sure to go to the restroom if they need to. And then every bus worker, got to improve on this, all right? You have to give and make sure your rider's address, phone numbers, you give it to the Sunday school teachers. All right? You've got to. You got to do it. And I'm not saying that you have to be the one to do it. Your attendance person, give them that job. All right? Whoever it is, give them a 3x5 cards. Hey, here's a visitor. Write their name, their address, and your records. Put it on that 3x5 card and say, give this to your teacher when you go in. And you're done. All right? But you got to get their attendance information to them, right? When you're taking the kids home, first thing you do when they get out on the bus is you count. Yes. Don't leave until you have everyone, right? You have to count and make sure everyone's on the bus, all right? That's one thing I told Brother Rowley. I always did every week. I sat there in that seat while everyone got off the bus, and I counted. And so I made sure every week when I got back that I had the same amount on there. All right, and here's my records for a year, the date and the people, how many we had on the bus, all right? There's 52 of them on there, right? But you keep attendance, all right? And make sure, so when we leave, if we came in with 12, we leave with 12. If you've got 11, don't leave. If you've got 13, you're stealing somebody, all right? Make sure you get on the right bus, all right? But you got to count. Again, have a snack on the way home. I would do something like a pack of these cookies, all right? $1.99, Chips Ahoy, off-brand. Everybody gets a cookie on the bus, all right? It's a great thing. Songs and games on the way home, do the same thing, song, integrate. And then I don't necessarily teach another lesson on the way home, but that's when you teach your verse on the way home. All right, bring that verse visual up, teach the verse, all right? And you can always, 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 always teach a lesson off of that verse. You're not going to go 7 minutes again, but teach the verse, minute, 2-minute lesson about this verse, all right? And you have games, they want to memorize this verse. When they get off the bus, they should see smiles from everyone when they leave. And then as you come back to church on that bus, remember this last statement. I don't know if you can see it, all right? Clean up, windows up, sweep up. And that word shut up doesn't talk about you, all right? It's about this. Have a tote or something. Don't leave open food on the bus, all right? You need to shut everything up in something, all right? Because raccoons see our buses as buffet lines, all right? And so you got to seal food, all right? Right, Elliot? It's like every week, right? And they are smart too. Yep. We've had to put stuff on the outside of our bus because they'll get in and open the totes. Yep. Incredibly smart animals, all right? But clean up, that means pick up a garbage. Windows up, you can't leave the windows down. Rain will get in, it mildews everything, and it ruins the bus seats and the floor, and then the buses don't pass inspection. It truly is that important, right? Sweep up, make sure someone uses a broom. There should be a broom on every bus, and sweep your bus, all right? And then shut up everything nice and tight, all right? But that should be what you do on the way home, all right? So that's before they get in there, when they get on the bus, and when they're going home. Any questions, comments before I go on? Jake?
Once you force through the attendance and everything, once you shut everything up, when I drove a school bus, we did what's called a child check. Make sure you actually have a bus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's to me, as you go by and put every window up, yeah. But that should also, I mean, I know as our workers, I know too, I knew last week, I didn't ride home, but we only had one come from Pebblebrook, and then we had 5 come from Timber Creek, and in Oakwood we had 4. So you watch as they get off, especially as the bus driver. That really, again, appreciate your bus driver because he's watching, all right, and he knows generally who got on and make sure they all get off. So, but yeah, don't ever. One time we stopped we thought we lost a kid on the way back from camp one year, and because we counted and they were gone, we missed one, and me and Brother Slee are panicking like someone's been kidnapped. And this little kid was in the fetal position under the back seat of the bus, asleep, sound asleep. And so it was scary, right? But they will, right? If you're not, especially if you got a lot of kids, they can find those little spots. And I mean, Jackson was zonked out. We had to wake him up to get him in church last week, right? All right, so take home. Safety reminders, running a bus ministry. Children should stay seated generally. I mean, you get up to do a quick game or something, but they cannot be walking around, roaming around. All right, they have to, and when they're in their seats, they can't be standing on the seats. They need to be seated. All right, never allow a child to be in or out of a window. All right, never, ever, ever. I know of 2 children that have been killed because their heads or body was out of a bus window. All right, I know. Not here, thankfully. All right, but it's happened. So that's very dangerous, extremely dangerous. Don't ever, right? Be careful with foods. I just talked about having food. Be careful with peanuts. Yeah. I mean, you just got to be careful. There's allergies and stuff like that. So I never give out anything with peanut butter in it. I never do. It's a hazard in today's world because one of the kids has a reaction. And, what are you going to do on the bus, all right? But be careful with that. Attendance is mandatory. Watch the traffic. And I'm talking about when they're getting off the bus, it is not a state law that cars have to stop for a church bus. All right? So if we stop and the kids are getting out, that car behind you doesn't have to stop. I wish they did, but they don't. Right? It is not a state law. They can zoom right around you, and if you just let your kids run out and they're going the other way in front of the bus, they could get hit very quickly. All right? So you, bus workers, you have to get off the bus, and you have to make sure they get through the traffic safely. All right? It's just absolute. All right? And then the kids, make sure they get to their door. All right? Don't just let them off the bus and they're going down there to those apartments down the road. All right, you pull out. You got to make sure they get home. All right. You know, the other day I was driving and Mikey and Hunter and all the family, they all got out and they went up there and we were all on the bus. I shut the door and I started to pull out and they've always just walked in and they didn't. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and finally Brother Matthew turns around and he goes, "Everything okay?" I was like, "They can't get in the house." And so he had to go out, call the mom. The mom was walking the dog. She got back as soon as she could. But you can't leave those kids just out. All right? They're our liability until we hand them back to the parent. Right? And one time, what was the little kids' names on the Milford route? After RJ and Josh, we went and picked them up. Yeah. We one time, the mom was out, drugs, just passed out in the house. And so we had to keep those boys. We just kept them with us. And we called the police, and the police went and finally got in the house and woke the mom up, and then we were able to take the kids back. But I couldn't get in her house, but even if I could have opened the door with her passed out, I wouldn't have left the kids there. All right? And the police appreciated us handling it the way we did. All right? And but we have to protect those kids and make sure they get delivered safely. Okay? So, any questions? Bus. There's a lot that goes into it, isn't there? And a lot of you don't even think about. Brother Jeff?
Something else when you're doing bus, keep in mind what's going on, like if it's election time or whatever. Like one year we did a promotion during election season. We did the Republicans against the Democrats. Because the
Right.
elections
They promote it.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And so whenever they thought about the election, they thought about the bus.
Yep.
So you go Saturdays, do your stump speeches, and try to get them to vote.
Yep. That's awesome.
It's just fun.
Yeah, have fun. The best promotion that I've ever done, ever, is in November. If you go on the buses, you'll see little hooks on there. But in November, I give every kid a stocking on the bus. All right? They're like, you can get them really cheap at the dollar store, right? You hang them up there on those little hooks. Every week they're there between the first Sunday in November until the week before Christmas. Every week they're there. Like if that front row right there came that Sunday, then in their stocking, Mrs. Burt gets a little wrap present. Mrs. Hall gets one. Brother Dango gets one. And each of them get a wrap gift, and they cannot open it until that Sunday before Christmas. And every week they come, they would get another one. If they bring a visitor, they get an extra one in that. Some of them get their stocking like bulging, and they're so pumped for that last week. And you know what happens? They keep coming, and they bring visitors, right? And you say, I can't afford to buy all those presents. I send your workers, all right, those little aisles right down the middle of, at the beginning when you first walk in Target or in the dollar store, they got these little, they're like 50 cents, all right? Even less, get a little container of like 4 different things and wrap each one individually, all right? It's all good. Erasers, right? Wrap them, all right? But the kids love it. They love it, and it gets them excited and have big numbers, right? But there's all kinds of promotions and stuff. That would be a whole nother institute. I could teach promotions and stuff, but we do them. So, but I will say this too before I go on. Brother Ezra and Hannah, when they ran the Milford route, they had something every Sunday. Like they would all get off the bus and they'd all have their clothes on backwards. I'd be like, backwards day? They're like, yeah, all right. And the kids loved it. No big deal. They just, every Sunday, favorite sports team Sunday, wear purple Sunday. They just did something every Sunday. And it wasn't church promoted, it was just something they did with their bus. And it keeps the kids excited, right? It's really great. All right, Sunday school bus, now junior church. All right, let's go through this and we'll take a break. All right, running the junior church ministry. All right, first the arrival. As they're walking in your junior church, they need to be welcomed with a smile, which means this: you need to be here. All right, before the kids. And if you're in another ministry, then make sure someone's in here to welcome those kids. All right, they need to be in here. All right, and with a smile, hey, welcome to junior church. We're so excited you're here. And then as each kid comes in, you need to talk to them. All right, that's why, you say, well, we have 30 kids in here. That's why you have workers. Not that you have to talk to every child, but spread out. I'm just saying what happens in the typical church is 4 workers, 5 workers are standing in the back corner all checking out scores or their Instagram, and all these kids are just walking in and sitting around and throwing footballs at each other and talking, and they get louder and louder and more chaotic. Then it's time to start, and your guys are like, hey, sit down, sit down, sit down. What are you guys doing? Well, doing what kids do because you've been not doing anything, right? As soon as they walk in, you're interacting with them, and you're sitting with them, and you're talking with them, all right? But you welcome them with a smile, you interact with each child, and then we start junior church. Here's the agenda, right? This is just a sample. It's not thus saith the Lord. You all with me? All right, and smaller children, gonna be probably, you're not gonna do it this way. All right, you know what you do, all right? But generally speaking, here's a good program. It works. I know I did it 7 years, all right? Worked great, all right? But here's what Travis Burke did, all right? And many that were trained under me, right? But as the kids walked in, you interact with them, then it's time to start. When you start, I introduced the quiet seat. I would have workers bring in a quiet seat. Remember those 5 workers I told you I had worked with for a long time? Every one of them brought in 1 quiet seat every week. That's how many quiet seats a week? 5. We had about 40 to 60 kids, generally had big days, but we had a lot of kids in there, right? And so we had 5, and at the time, we'd have to use the table now. Remember the desks that were attached to the wall? All right, and I would stand up in the front, either over there or right here, depending where it was, and I'd take those quiet seats, and I'd put I'd have them cheer. I have here a 2-liter of Mountain Dew. All right, that side cheered the most, so this one's going on this side. Only someone from this side can win it now. Oh, then I have a 2-liter of Dr. Pepper. Oh, yeah, see? And okay, we're going to put this on this side. And I'd split them up, and then you'd always have that 5th one. They have 2 and you have 2. And it usually worked out. They each had 2. Wink. You know what I mean, all right? They each had 2, all right? And then you have this last one. You say, what, we're going to wait. Brother Jeff, we're going to hand this last quiet seat out to the side that sings the best today. And then he holds it while the singing's going on. I just motivated all of you, right? And if you're kids, you're just like, oh, man. All right, got to beat those people, all right? And so you're working that, you're going, all right? But you introduce the quiet seats, and they need to be good quiet seats, right? No junky, stupid things, right? They need to be, but not a case of Mountain Dew, right? You're a fool if you're spending $13, right? I never spent over $1 whenever I was doing the junior church. You have to now, all right? You just can't find nothing for $1. All right? My favorite go-to is those little theater candy boxes, all right? Usually at Kroger's, they're $1.25, $1.30, all right? And but every once in a while you'll find a 1 liter now for 99 cents, right? Look for those kind of things. And you introduce the quiet seats. Then we're going to sing songs, and we're going to have. I love my visuals. Use your visuals. Have something in front of them, and listen. If you've been using the same visual for 8 years and the corners are bent in and half the words are off of them, make a new one. All right? I'm just volunteering right now. You ask one of these Brother Jeff's girls, they're going to do a fantastic job at making a visual. They like it. All right? You're like, I just can't do it. They'll enjoy it. And they probably won't want anything to do it. I know I'm volunteering them. Kyrie loves doing it, don't you, Kyrie? Right? She would love it. And they're so artistic and they're so talented. And it gives them an outlet to do that kind of stuff. And if you're really nice, give them a $5 Chick-fil-A card. They'll think it's awesome. They'll do it next week. Oh, please, all right? And, but have some, don't, Miss Salee, she's at church tonight at her church, right? She's been here last 2 nights. There are some visuals still in that junior church thing back there that she made in 1988. Praise the Lord. Get a new one. All right? Get a new one. All right? Poster board's $1.10. All right? We got markers, and you got talented people in this room. All right? Get something up there that the kids are like, whoa, right? They'll put little decorations on it. They're awesome, all right? But have good song visuals, all right? And then what I did, all right, after a couple songs, we prayed. And before we prayed, we brought the ushers up, and we took up a little offering, all right? You say, in junior church? Yeah. You say, well, you're not probably not going to get anything. Oh, I don't care. I'm getting them used to the spiritual. All right? And they're passing the thing around. It gives the boys motivation. They might get to do this. The girls are getting motivation. They may sing during it, or they may play something during it. And but they're taking up the offering. And then we have a little basket. And you just leave your basket right outside the door, and someone will come over and pick it up. All right? That's someone's job. And they'll come get that. And I took up an offering. I had prayer. It was so awesome when the boys started praying. It was just really cool when they started doing that. Then I had a short skit. That's when Pastor Wilson and his peers would come in, and one fry short of a Happy Meal gang, all right? And they would come in, and they'd do a silly skit. Or Dr. Manners came in, or Brother Board, he was brought up here, all right? But whatever we did, puppets. We have so many puppets downstairs. Yep. Use them, all right? But here's something, if you're going to use them, use a script. Don't wing it. It never works out. And the kids know you're not prepared. And the only thing that will turn these kids off quicker than boredom is people trying to do something and they're not doing it well. Yeah. All right? This is a joke. All right? You say, I don't have scripts. They're everywhere. Puppetscript.com. You'll have enough for 2 years. Or I have written enough. I wrote 2 whole summers worth that are on my computer for when we were down at Hope Ministry on Saturdays. I did the whole fruit of the Spirit and taught all that. All right, I've got 8-10 years of Kids Crusade scripts that you can use. Just got to change a few words in it. Instead of Kids Crusade, Junior Church, and you're good to go. All right, and you have also about 100 fantastic knock-knock jokes. But do something. All right, be creative. All right, have a short skit that enforces a lesson. Yes?
How did you separate your groups on both sides
When I did junior church, the boys and girls sat on separate sides. It was never a rule. It's been that way in school. I have never, ever, ever said girls on this side, boys on this side. I won't say. People ahead of me did it years ago. All right, but I've never, especially since I took the reins back, I've never said ever. But they always do. And it happens, I watch in junior church it happens. When I'm over here after Sunday school, they're like boys and girls. And I don't, but it's probably a good thing, to be quite honest, because I've had enough dating connections with all the bus kids, right? And then the church kids. But skits, all right, and then after that short skit, I'd have another song, all right, 1 or 2. We'd sing that song and have a good time with the singing. Then after that, I'd always have game time. Brother Randy did my games for such a long time. He did a great job. Brother Anthony Poor did my games. He did a great job. Brother Chad, for a little while, did my games, and I introduced him every week as Brother Chad Squarepants. And do you remember that? Was you in there then? Chad hated that. He got so mad at me, and that's made me do it more and more every week. My wife would play it on the piano. Da-da! Who leads all the games here in junior church? And all the kids say, Brother Chad Squarepants. And he was like, he was awesome. And my wife always did game time music. Right? Do you still play that?
It's literally just a C chord.
It was so cool. Dude! I don't know. But we always had game time music, all right? I don't know. Yeah, right? You know it. Yeah, right? But and the kids were like, yeah, all right. They had the music. We introduced here's your game host and leader today, Brother Randy. Whoa! You make a big deal of it, and all the kids do too, all right? Then he gets up, and they're all focused and ready to go. And but have games. You can be a little bit more creative than on a bus, because you're in a room, all right? You can have a little bit more freedom. But I am telling you this, all right? Don't get too active. You get all the kids, like, I never did, like, musical chairs. To me, that's too active in junior church because they're all, and then they're all pushing each other, getting in the seats, and you lose them, all right? It's just too much, especially for undisciplined children. It's just, right? I don't recommend that at all, right? I recommend more, I tell you one of the kids' favorite games I ever played, which we always did Stump the Chumps, and we'd have nice prizes. And we'd sit there and let the kids ask me and Brother Randy questions. And if we didn't know the answer, we had to give them a prize. And they loved it. Once they got into it, they're just like, and they would think all week about a question to ask us. And that's when we first had phones. You could start looking things up, and Crystal would be in the back searching for us and giving us answers. And then every time we answered it right, me and Randy would put our arms around each other and say, we don't mess around, yeah. And all the kids would be like, oh, right. And every once in a while we'd let them beat us, but if my sister couldn't Google quick enough. But you creative. Just don't get them too active because you've got to calm them down, all right? And it can get out of hand too quickly. So yes.
Would you even recommend that game in today's world?
Stump the Chump? 100%, yeah. Yeah, I have no problem with it. Yeah. I did have categories. They were not allowed to ask about pop music. They weren't allowed to ask about sitcoms and movies unless a movie was over 10 years old, I think, or something. Because honestly, I didn't have to look up nothing. Randy knew all that stuff. But he still does. And probably Randy could answer all the music questions 10 years before too. The guy is a walking encyclopedia. He's amazing. Yeah, I would have zero qualms in running that game now. I have none. Nah. And I'm not recommending you cheat, but me and Brother Randy, I have to say we knew a lot though. We knew so many stupid facts. So useless information. We're full of that. Again, run games. That'd be as fun as you make it. Then I'd always have one more song, or that's a good time to have a special. Mrs. Green would sing specials. My wife would sing specials. My sister and my wife, me and my sister and my wife, we sing specials just like we do next door. And you say, why are you doing that, right? Because I want the kids to getting used to these things. Amen. So that, because some of them, in 3 months, they're going to be sitting over there. And singing specials, oh yeah, that's what we always do. I don't know if I do that when we split them, 1st through 3rd grade, maybe not so much, but 4th through 6th, yes. Have a special every service. And this is another thing, right? That's where you also start bringing in some of the teenagers. They get done with choir, they come over here, and they sing a duet. It gives them an outlet, all right? Have them come over here, all right? Play something, all right? Hope's taking piano lessons, right? Give her something to do. Yay, right? She's like, oh, Dad, all right? Yeah, all right? But that's when you use these things, all right? And it gives them an opportunity, not in front of all the adults and the scary peers, all right? They're over here with the kids that don't care. That's the greatest place for teens to get out of their comfort zone. The 2 best places is junior church and nursing home ministry. All right, because junior church, most of them won't remember what you did last week, and nursing home, they won't remember what you did next week, right? And so it's okay if you mess up, all right? But again, use them. I love that, right? And it's getting them ready. Getting them ready for big church is not making them sit still for an hour and a half, right? They're getting there, right? And we're so patient next door. You know, we have a lot of kids over there right now that just came over in this last promotion. They're still getting used to things. It doesn't bother me at all. You know, if I don't have the ability to preach over a 13-year-old, I shouldn't be preaching. All right, I mean, really, all right? And and I have people that, I notice my kids that are over there, they're almost always sitting with one of our people, right? Brother Fernando, right? Or sitting with Cody, or, right? Because my workers need to do that, right? I don't want them sitting by themselves. Right, and again, a song is special. Then you preach, 11:45, 12:05, give or take. I would never go over 20 minutes in a junior church. Never, ever, 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 ever. And your preaching again needs to be salvation centered, especially in the stage of our ministry right now. I will say 10 years ago, our buses were down to like 1 or 2 kids a week. I mean, we were, and most of the junior church was all drive-in crowd. Okay, you can get away a little bit from salvation, but with our current status right now, it needs to be gospel every week. every week, right? Every week, gospel. And preach on the gospel every week, plant the seeds, water the seeds, and these kids need to hear it over and over and over and over again. So, yes.
I had to learn that during children's ministry not to, like, you use Bible, but don't give this much Bible and stuff.
100%. Yeah. I'm not going to do, expository Romans chapter number 10, verse 1, verse 2. I'm telling them the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'm using Joseph. I'm using the stories and the accounts to teach the gospel. All right? And it needs to be gospel-centered, especially where we are right now. And if you're going to preach, you got to be energetic. You have to be focus demanding. I mean, the whole time you're speaking, you are, and focus demanding is not, look at me, Paul. Look at me, Paul. Paul, look at me. That's not focus demanding. That is me preaching and presenting what I'm doing in such a way that he can't get his eyes off of me. Right? I mean, you've been around, I think, come sit in a chapel sometime. I'm moving. I'm always there. All right, because I got everything from first grade all the way to 12th grade in chapel, and those first graders. And so what I'm always doing is like, all right, and you kind of do the Brother Slee thing a lot. You know what I mean? All right, Temperance, come here, right? And then I'm preaching on something. Really, she has no reason even to be here. That's the Brother Slee thing, right? There's no reason. I'm not going to talk about her. I'm not going to use her in any way. But how you doing, Temperance? Good, right? And I'm preaching, and I'm digging my points, and the kids are just like, what's he going to do with her, right? And she's just looking at me like, oh, right? And then eventually I'm like, thanks, Temperance, right? And everyone's just like, why was she up there? No reason, right? It's just, it's a focus thing. And Brother Slee worked on the bus route and in junior church for double the time I did, and that is what he got used to, and that's why he does that. That's why he does it. He says this because, he likes to embarrass his wife, but it's not the reason. He does it because he's just used to it, all right? Because that's effective junior church, all right? Is that you do whatever it takes to keep people's attention. All right, you're always moving. You hold something up. You'll use people as an illustration, like Goliath. He fell to the ground. Daniel, come here real quick. And he threw that, and it hit him on the head, and the giant fell face first. Boom! Right now, thanks, man. All right, that right there got all of you. If I would have said, and David hit Goliath, and he fell face first to the ground. None of you are laughing, moving, or making any emotions. But there, I had you. Something so simple. I had you. Now, when you use those illustrations, you got to pick the right people. All right? I knew to pick him. All right? I didn't ask Miss Daniels to come up here. Right? Right? Nor did I wouldn't ask Jackson to come up here. Because he don't know what happened to Goliath. He has no clue. And he's going to look at me, and it's not cool to fall on my face. It wasn't cool there, but he has enough respect for me, all right? Thank you. All right, but it's Jackson would never do that. But Noah would. Noah would. Micah would. I mean, they would. Your teen helpers will. They'll do it. But, Maddie is not doing that. So you got to know who you're asking. You got to be wise and know your crowd, all right? But you got to be salvation-centered, energetic, focus-demanding, and your workers are all seated amongst the kids. All right? No one's back there. All right? It's child, Mrs. Hall. Child, Brother Price. Child, all right? They're there. Which means you cannot be on your phones. You cannot be talking. You're only there to pay attention. You are laughing at the stupid jokes more than anybody else. Right. You are, saying, oh, that was awesome, Brother Dang, you fell on your face. You're more than anyone else. You are so locked in. You are supporting that preacher with everything you got, and you're his number one fan. Which makes all the kids like, all right? And you're helping that. And they're not sitting there talking. And you're not sitting there, be quiet, pay attention. No, you're locked in. You're like, stop. We need to listen to him. And because you've been sitting by them a long time, they got to know you, they know your name, they know you care. You pick them for the game time because you're just like, hey, when I do games today, I'm going to pick you. They're like, oh, all right? And they think it's the coolest thing ever, all right? And they're your best friend for the next month. Just telling you little things, they work, right? And you come back next week, like, hey, will you sit with me? And they saved a seat for you, right? You invest in these kids, and they respond to it. And now I don't have to yell at them to quit talking. I'm just like, Temperance, we gotta listen. Oh, okay, because we got a connection. That's effective children ministry is about setting and creating these connections in their lives, all right? Give an invitation, 12:05 to 12:10. Give an invitation, have a song play, give an opportunity for the kids to respond. Say, how did you give an invitation? I let them come forward. I let them come forward. On rare occasions, if I saw someone really under conviction, I might send a worker to talk to them. But most of the time, I let them because that really is that first act that they really want this. Is that first step. And so I let them come forward, and my workers knew as soon as someone came forward, someone came up, and they took them. I didn't have to go, Brother Jeff, come up here. I never had to do that, all right? If she's a 7-year-old and she walks out, by the time she got standing next to me, Crystal was standing up here. Got that, workers? Right? You're engaged. All right? This is what we're here for.
Right.
Yes, sir?
I'm sorry to keep that.
No, that's why we're here.
So one of the issues, well, not an issue, but when people are being talked to, what should we be doing with the other kids? Because they get antsy.
You been in Kids Crusade?
No,
No, I know. Have you been in Kids Crusade? That's what I do. While people are still being talked to, we're going to keep our heads bowed. We're going to keep our heads bowed. We're going to not talk because this is the most important decision these kids could ever make. So we got to be really quiet. And I'm kind of promoting what this is all about and how they need to be still because this is really important. And I do not go on to another step until they're all done because I don't want them to cut off whoever's talking to them because I'm handing out quiet seats. We're going to keep the piano playing, and the status stops until everybody's done being talked to. Because I don't want them to lose their focus on who they're talking to, and they can tell them in confidence, they're going to wait on us till we're done. All right? And so that's what you have to do. So you just keep things as they are, and you just keep the piano playing. I would eventually at some point say, be seated. They don't need to stand for, if it's going long. And you see me doing Kids Crusade, all right? I may be seated, but we're going to keep our heads bowed and eyes closed. But we want them to have a chance to make a decision. But I'm not going to the next step. I will not pass out a quiet seat till everybody's back in here. And if we go an extra 3 minutes, it's okay. On occasion, I go past 12:15. On occasion, right? But that's when God's doing something, right? Same thing here. This is church. We're preaching. We're presenting the gospel. So it's not 12:15. We're out of here, right? But I shoot for it, and you should too. That's the only time I ever tell a guest speaker we need to be done around this time because children's ministries are counting on that. All right? I've got multiple teachers that if I go to a 12:40, what do we do? Right? I'm not going to do that to them. All right? So, but then after the invitation, we hand out quiet seats, making the announcements. Hey, next week, and you should always, listen to me, you should always have something that's going to happen next week. Always have something next week. All right? There should be always something that they're looking forward to next week. If they ever leave without not knowing there's something going on next week and what it is, you failed. It could be the puppets. They're going to be back next week. All right? Anything. I'm going to give out a giant container of cheese puffs next week. What? Come back. You'll see it. But I don't care what it is. All right? I'm going to wear a feathered hat next week. I don't care. But tell them something's going on next week. All right, quiet seats, announcements, and then you dismiss them, and you make sure that they all get to their buses. You can dismiss by bus. You can dismiss if you have the girls and guys on each side. Girls go first, then the boys. You can dismiss the driving crowd, but just make sure they all get to the bus. All right, that's the important thing. Don't just send them out and all 4 workers stand up here or 5 workers and be like, hey, that was a good time, right? No, make sure they get to the bus, all right? And then make sure you also dismiss, sometimes you dismiss the buses and stuff and the driving crowd's like, all right? Make sure you dismiss them. But make sure you get there. Assignments, again, I'm almost done. A schedule should be discussed and shared with all your workers. Leaders must let the workers do their assigned jobs, and you leaders should be the workers' biggest cheerleaders. All right? Biggest cheerleaders. Workers not prepared should be warned. If they keep doing it, you find a new worker. You just have to. Oh, well, it's your job. You didn't bring a quiet seat. Now that's 3 weeks in a row you haven't brought a quiet seat. Yeah, I just always forget. If you don't bring it next week, I'm going to need to replace you. See, that's harsh. You're either in or you're not. You're either committed or you're not. All right? And I would really encourage you to work through me on that. All right? Don't be the Sunday school bus junior church mafia. All right? I'm cutting you off. All right? You work through me. I'll talk to them. Hopefully we can get it handled. Right? But workers are not to be on their phones ever.
Amen.
Got it?
Amen.
Ever. From the time that first kid is there, ever, until the last kid's gone. Workers must be engaged or sitting with the children. Restrooms in junior church, because we're in junior church right now, should only be for emergency. And you can tell. I mean, when the kids are squirming or about to die, right, take them to the bathroom. We do not want them messing on themselves, right? But it's your job to teach them. Just like my parents taught me, we don't go to church during the service. You go before the service. And as you're teaching that, and you may need a couple weeks to remind them of that, but when you start holding to that, no pun intended, when you start holding to that, all right, they're going to learn to use the bathroom before they get over here, all right? And it really was never an issue. New kids would try it every once in a while, but it just was never an issue. Once you hold to your guns, you're just like, no, we do it. You have to wait till after we're done. What? It's amazing. They're better than what we give them credit for, right? But make sure you do that. Restrooms should only be an emergency. Teach it before junior church. Workers may never touch a child or speak to a child in anger. Again, don't ever, in any way, touch these children. Ever. Clear? Ever. All right? And don't rebuke them like in anger. All right? Brother Daniel, I've told you, look at me. The kid, he hates you because you're just like everybody else. And that should not be. Can you imagine Jesus saying, hey, look at me, Daniel, I'm speaking. There's not a chance.
Right.
That's just not the way he'd handle it. Because he is kind, he's gracious, he's merciful, and I can get his attention and say, hey, Daniel, look at me. This is really important, and I want you to hear this. I just got the same message across, but an entirely different way. It's all, you got to be wise, right? The aim, the purpose have already been shared. We went through like 20 of those. Decisions should be recorded on, it's always about souls. And everyone that gets saved, you've got to record that on the decision card and make sure the leader gives me that decision card. All right? Make sure I get it. All right? Or put it on the pulpit. I'll get it. All right? But we got to record these decisions. All right? We need that. Let's take a break, and then we'll go on to preparation. All right? Any questions? I know I went really long, but I thought we'd get through that section. Yes, Hope?
I'm sorry. So when I get off bus in the mornings, I go to Sunday school, obviously, and some of the girls do also go to the teen class, and they normally sit by me, and sometimes I'm just like confusing whether I'm still in charge of them, or should I just like let my teacher handle that?
Let the teacher handle them in teen class. Just be their friend in the teen class. Yeah, that's a good question. But yeah, I would tell the same thing for an adult. Brother Fernando, if, Dorina rides the bus, he's not walking over and treating her like a kid, right? Once they get off the bus, they're peers. So same way, I would do that too. Anything else? All right, we're 5 minutes. The rest of it's shorter, so it won't take as long. All right, so 5 minutes, get a refill, graze some more, and then we'll get started.